Hi there and good morning. My name is Ben Stubbs of the Flamenco Guitar Podcast and Flamenco4U Guitar Tutorials. And I'm here in this live lesson or this live video here to answer any of your questions you might have and also to give you a quick lesson on Alzapua technique. Alzapua technique is where you're using the thumb, the pulgar, and you strike down and you strike up like that. And on this channel, I've gone over this technique in lessons with Entre los Aguas, and you go check back in two of those lessons that we used it in E minor chord progression for the Andalusian cadence. We're going to do the same thing here in a way, starting off with E minor. Now, E minor for the guitar in general is just the easiest chord to hold, I think. Some people will reach it and fret it this way because they could reach those two notes with their first and second fingers. Don't get into that habit just because you're having trouble reaching it. Use your second and third finger there, because if you don't use those fingers, you're going to forego the access to your G sharp, and you won't be able to play quickly a G major, right? Because you'll no longer have access to it because you're occupying your first and second finger. So that's just a little tip for total beginners on the guitar in general. So make sure that you fret the E minor with the second and third fingers. Second finger on the B note and third finger on the E note. So that way you can quick transition to E major and use other notes in E minor. Now going back to Alzapua. So Alzapua, it can be using a golpe at the same time. You'll hear that a lot. Like that. Some of this thumping sound on usually on the second note. One, two, triplet. Or it could be done without. So let's look at the right hand and see how that's set up. Notice that my first finger is gliding along the first string here to give myself some stability and some leverage as I pull down this way like that. So the thumb is coming down this way, and I'm using the leverage, the stability that I have on the first string that I'm planting down with my first finger to make that movement. Without that that support from my first finger, I'm more or less just kind of out gliding in the air with no support. I can still do it, but I have more control over the situation when I use that. So there's nothing wrong in using your first finger on that first string like that to get that stability, unless you do want to have those notes, the E note and the B note, inside of your chord. Then obviously you're going to have to move that first finger away from the string. So nonetheless, in this example, let's go ahead and just keep it there and play it in the E minor. So first what happens is that the E gets struck like that, and now my thumb is resting on the fifth string, right? And it's locked and loaded, ready to go to strum the E, the A string, the D string, and the G string like that. And a little bit of the B string, right? Let's forego the alzapua, the golpe for now, just for this instance. Now my index finger, if you take a look at that, that's disengaging with the first string. The next note is an upstroke with the thumb along the same collection of strings. So once again, the movement is down thumb, striking the E string, resting on the A string, down, strumming the A, D, and the G, and a little bit of the B, and then up stroke like that. And let's focus once again on the supporting finger, the I finger. Disengages, it's out, and then it's back again. The more that you stay in the range of the bass strings, however, the more you're going to integrate that first finger and use it for support. Like that. The more that you want to hit the treble strings, the less you're going to have to use that index. It's just going to get in the way at that point. So if you're going to play the treble strings with the Alzapua, the index is going to lose its utility, if that makes sense. So that's the E minor. So try that with me. So once again, you can lock and load your index here for some support. resting that thumb on the A string, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. We'll say it triplet. Triplet. Again. Slower. If you're having trouble with it, maybe your thumbnail is not quite long enough. And if it's not, or if it's misshapen, and if it's getting snagged on the strings, then what you want to do is go back in my video library and watch the video, highly controversial video on nail shaping, where I show you how to use a nail file and kind of get this cascading angle on your thumb so that it glides along the string easily and doesn't get caught. And I say it's controversial because I was using, God forbid, a metal nail filer. Ideally, you should be using like a Revlon, like a pink nail filer that has the foam on the inside. That's just probably the best grit that you can get, and it's got more space for your nails. But I digress. Now let's go to another chord that we can use it, because we always want to make sure that every exercise that we do, we can actually like apply it to something musically, or a palo or compás, so we're not wasting our time. Guts says hi. Hey Guts, how's it going? Welcome. We're just going over Alzapua technique in this little live stream that we got going on here. Once again, I'm Ben Stubbs of the Flamenco Guitar Podcast and Flamenco Guitar Tutorials. You can stop by this channel anytime to kind of get your feet wet in the flamenco style. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more and you want to maybe adapt this to your current style, the flamenco guitar style, to your style of guitar, and you play nylon string guitar and you want to take this Spanish guitar approach, or this flamenco guitar approach, using things like the Phrygian scale, Alzapua, picado, and adapt it into your own kind of a style and really immerse yourself in that, then I highly recommend that you click on the link below, which I'll ping a little bit after this upload, and you'll be able to schedule a call with me, and I can kind of see where you're at and see if we're a good fit, and we can do some lessons, right? You can join my program. So next, we've got an A minor chord. So we've gone from E minor to A minor. Okay, and if you're a complete beginner at guitar, that's open A, second finger, the second fret of the fourth string, third finger on the second fret of the G string, and first finger on the first fret of the B string. So similar kind of movement. We can use the index to stabilize yourself. Same triplet. So notice that range of strings that you're striking. The 5, 4, 3, and the 2. Those are the range of strings. And the meat and potatoes is really on the bass strings, to be honest, because you're resting, right? Always want to rest after you strike that first bass string. So by rest, I mean that the thumb is on the next string, the fourth string, with enough tension, ready to go, like I said, lock and loaded, to go downward like that. Now, you might see me using this golpe out of muscle memory. It just happens, right? I had to train myself how to do that, like all of flamenco guitarists have to do on these downbeats like that. It's not to say that you have to use it every single time. You can do it without it, especially when you're going that fast. If you're going slower, you can take your time to emphasize it and put in that golpe. So how do you do that? You do it on the second beat, right? Here's the first beat, and then the second beat, where you strum both the D string, G string, and the B string, right? And then up like that. So the golpe really only happens on that second down beat, on the da 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 da. So that's A minor pattern. And now we'll do B7. So now I'm starting on the fifth string once again. So the B7, is fretted with your second finger on the second fret of the 5th string, first finger on the 1st fret of the D string, third finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. And the Alzapua work is on the thumb like that right there. Gut says, sounds fire, and yeah, I play flamenco. I know the Rumba flamenca on A minor and G major, F major, and E major, which is basically adaptable on every scale. But I really suck. He says he sucks. I'm sure you don't suck, Guts. I really suck at tremolo and picado, but rasgueado is my favorite. Oh yeah, I totally agree. Rasgueado is like the number one, the first technique that you would have to learn for the flamenco guitar or the guitar in general, right? If I use rasgueado in like general terms, just strumming, right? The guitar is an accompaniment instrument. So what good are you as a guitarist if you can't accompany? So you're going to have to be able to strum. And the flamenco guitar style, rather than just like kind of singular strumming patterns like this with a pick or just your fingers, there's all kinds of different strumming patterns, which we call rasgueados, like scratching, like you're scratching like that. And so they can involve just up and down movements like this with M and A, up with B like that, and then using singular fingers by themselves like this. There's all kinds of different patterns, and they have their own application, right, for their own sound and their own approach. So you have more options rhythmically on your instrument. Lucas Bright. Hey, Lucas, how's it going? Can you rumba with Alzapua? Yes, absolutely, yeah. So let's just talk about like first off the Entre los Aguas. So we did that. Like that. So that's your Alzapua in that in rumba, and also you can do it in let's say like one. Using the triplets, like I just showed you, that were less straightforward than the Entre los Aguas. So let's do A to G to F to E. So the rumba. Now let's do the Alzapua in triplets. Like that. In that case, I was using like triplets, right? If you want to go kind of slower and more like 4/4 beats. Like that. A little less swing, a little less triplets. We have a lot of options for that. Gut says, thanks for the confidence and boost, friend. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. That's what I'm here for, to kind of, as guitarists, we're always along this journey of being able to like discover new things. And this is like endless, right? So the way I look at it, we always learn things from each other. I always learn things from you. And hopefully you're learning a couple things from me. Jumping back into the Alzapua technique that we're starting off with the triplets, right? So we did the B7, and then we added in this extra note here for the F sharp. So let's go like that. Alternately, if you wanted to use your second finger, you could do that. In the instance that you wanted to keep this 4th finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, so you have an F sharp, and move your 2nd finger down like that. I kind of tend to prefer to use my 4th finger like this and leave the open E like that. That's what Paco de Lucia did. He used his 4th finger a lot of the times when he's playing the F sharp while playing a B7. So once again, the movement is down, down, up. Now we hop strings, E string, like that. Using that 4th finger like as a lever for that note. And then back down to E minor. Now we're going to add another bonus note, the G right there, like that. Let's put it all together. E minor, and then A minor, B7, E minor, bonus notes, like that. And once again, I'm sorry if my guitar is cutting out. Sometimes the noise cancellation is cutting it out. Hopefully it's not. You can let me know in the chat if it's cutting out. So once again, triplet. E minor. Let's take it and this exercise and now apply it into like something real, something tangible that we can use in our flamenco repertoire. Let's say Granallas, the very end, like a finale, right? Let's go A minor with a added C, and then B, E, added G again, B7 again. Let's flesh it out. Let's do it in triplets. So let's go slow. Let's be strategic about our golpes, like adding them not every downward beat of the second beat, but one, like that. So you can have, like I said, with this E minor that I talked about at the very beginning, you have access to different notes. C, like that. You can do different things because you're using the correct technique. If you're using these two fingers, you lose all access to those notes. Right? And then repeat it again, slow. And maybe we can even just forego the A minor and go straight to B7. E minor. And we can finish up like that. So let's play it slowly. Let's pick a good rhythm here, a good beats per minute. 82 beats per minute. Let's go, it's a little slow. Let's go 85. Now we can maybe add the golpe in more frequently at this part because we're kind of crescendoing. Let's start from the top again. Add it with a capriote at the very end. Capriote is the technique where you use a golpe. A lot of people use their index finger. I like to use my middle finger, right? I'm not trying to be inappropriate here, but I'm going to kind of flash my middle finger. I'm going to knock here at the top in this little section here, which is covered by my tap guard, the tap plate, golpeador, so the wood's protected. And this is a good reinforced spot right here. And then I strum right afterwards. Knock, and then strum. It sounds like it's the exact same movement happening at the exact same time, but sequentially, in real time in slow motion, it's knock, strum, all together. Like that, okay? Like I said, you'll see people using their index. That's cool. I just think that there's less effort that you have to put forth if you use your middle finger. And the natural rotation of the wrist or the forearm tends to favor momentum just naturally with that middle finger. And two, this little part of skin seems to get more irritated than this one does. Or maybe I've been doing it for so long that the callus right here prevents it from bleeding, whereas this one doesn't get used a lot. I don't know. Just when you learn that technique from me, you're going to see me using the middle finger, but you might see other people using the first finger quite a bit. Let's do it again. Now let's do it faster. Let's do it at 100 beats per minute. Let's do it at 100 95 beats per minute, a little bit faster by 10 beats. It's kind of slow. Sorry, guys. 105. That time I added some rasgueado work into it instead of the Alzapua. So that's just a demonstration of all the variables that you could use. You can mix and match and supplement Alzapua with a rasgueado, and likewise an Alzapua with a rasgueado, a golpe, a Capriote. There's a lot of options that you have. So don't get overwhelmed when you see these videos that talk about like interchanging of techniques. The way I kind of teach is that I'm going to show you a technique, and I'm always going to kind of intertwine other ones too, just to keep it to keep those ideas available to you, so that you know that you don't have to be so strict with everything like that. There's rules in music, but really there's not rules in music, and it applies equally to the flamenco guitar. So that's all the time that we have right now. I want to thank you guys for joining me, Guts and Lucas, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care. We'll see you.